won't. Ride got to ride it like you're trying to get your ticket at the station on a rock on the line.
Rock on the line.
Rock on the line.
ABCWX.
The one and only Lonnie Donegan, folks.
Yes, sir. Rock on the line, boy.
Himself.
Yes, sir.
It's always interesting to hear Lonnie. That,
you got the old whistle coming back.
We have a few old whistles down here, folks,
Problems.
And we will cut them all down. That's it. Okay. Yeah, now you can hear us, can't you?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, you can. We sort these things out, folks, for you. We do. Anyway, that was Lonnie Donegan, the king of skiffle, the only king that's ever been of skiffle, I think.
Of course, yes.
Great act. The guy's a legend in the business, I would have to say. But of course we've got Willie here, and if you don't know and you've just switched on, you've just come into our show, Willie Harris is here. He's come all the way down from London to be with me on one of my penultimate last days.
Yeah.
Because they're working me to death this week, Willie.
Yeah, it's sad really, because we've been on a couple of shows together, and I've enjoyed it, you know. And it's sad that, you know, you're going up there, might not see you again. I might see you, might not.
No, we'll keep in touch.
We're going up to the north, aren't you?
Yes.
Up to Manchester, Llewellyn, like that. Oh, come on, lad.
Rather speak a bit like that, too, Willie.
Been trying to get a coronation strip for a long time, lad. Come on. Go on, right bloody egg the balls up there.
I'm going up to the coast, folks. I'm going up to Southport.
Oh, Southport. Oh, you're going to the posh part.
I'm not retiring, but there's the seas there and the sand, and it'll remind me of Bondi Beach. I can put my toenails in there.
Oh, it's a long way away from there.
Oh, yeah.
In Australia, where is it? Sydney, isn't it? Bondi Beach.
Bondi Beach near Sydney.
That's right. Yeah.
I've been there many times.
I worked at a nightclub there once.
Did you?
Yeah, upstairs, a little Jewish club. It was great. I don't know what it was called, but it was good. No.
Love Australia, love it to death. But anyway,
it was I think it was part Chinese as well, because it used to be called Chin Levi's.
Oh, you naughty rock and roll star.
Well, it's a quick gag. It's a clean one.
Yeah. Well, I've got. I think Splish Splash is our next one that I've sorted out for you, Willie.
Now that's strange, you know, that, because I don't know whether I told you before, but everybody seems to associate me with Splish Splash.
Yeah. I remember Charlie Drake.
Charlie Drake recorded it, and so did...
and Bernard Bresslaw was his offsider, wasn't he? I
tell you who else did it. I don't know, but I tell you who else did it. Bobby Darin.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He did, the late Bobby Darin. And over the years, people seem to associate me with Splish Splash. Funny, isn't it? And I mean, I never did record it. I've recorded it now.
Yeah.
On a CD, which I'm hoping in a few months it will be on the markets for Fury Records.
Really?
Yeah. Dale Richardson is the...
Right.
Yeah, and...
how many tracks will be on the album, Willie?
Maybe about 16, 17, something like that, yeah. It'll be my first CD anyway. I mean, I am on some compilation CDs with other people. Yeah. But it'll be my first one on my own.
Really?
With the bands.
So since your album days, of course, for
oh,
Decca.
since the days of Decca. That was a compilation one. Most of the stuff on there is Decca, but I did record for Polydor and I recorded for Parlophone as well. You know, and I don't think any of them are on there. They're not. It's mostly Decca.
How would you compare today, the kids today that are in the rock industry as such, compared to the bad boys of our era, Willie? I mean, we had, well, not too long ago, but Keith Moon, and then from them on Terry Dean had also been in quite a few fixes himself through his life. How do you place them nowadays with what the shenanigans they get up to?
Well, it's tame, isn't it, from today? I mean,
I feel so.
I mean, today it's a hell of a lot different. I mean, Oasis, what's his name, Liam?
Yeah, Gallagher.
The way he carries on, you'd think he was God. You know, I mean, they could never live with the Beatles, and I'll say that on television. They could never live with them. They tried to be like them.
They did.
But they will never be like them.
No.
There was only one group called the Beatles, and that is them. And the way he creates that guy and shows off in the street, and he walks, when he walks along, he walks like he's a big hard man, all the swaying business. What for? Doesn't
Really?
get him anywhere.
No.
He makes himself look a Burke.
No, I completely disagreed with Oasis at that time when they came out with all this rubbish about them being the same as the Beatles.
I'm not saying the
and they
music's no good. The music's all right.
No, some of their
but it's
records
the
were
way he
good.
carries
They used to
on.
play them in
It's the way he
disco,
carries. He spoils it for the rest of the band.
But Lennon and McCartney were such prolific songwriters.
Oh yeah.
And you have to realise, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, that people like Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, dozens of standard cabaret performers and film artists
We're pros.
were pros, recorded their music at that time when they were writing it, which is an amazing feat for a pop duo trio.
Of course,
quadro,
of
whatever.
course.
The Beatles were 4 guys.
I mean, all right. So I suppose the only moody one amongst them probably was John. But there again, I mean, he got married and he went to live in the States. And I don't know what happened in the way he was thinking, because when they were together, when I met him 2 or 3 times, you know, on shows, and went in and see him and had a chat in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And it's, "How you going, Willie? All right, kid." This was John, like, you know.
Yeah.
It was, and I don't know, he seemed to change when he got married and went out to live in the States. And unfortunately, we all know what happened to him out there. But I still think they were one of the best bands. I mean, let's face it, the Beatles, you've got to give it to them. They were the next biggest thing to Presley.
Oh, my own.
We've never had anybody as big as the Beatles that went to the States
The Beatles
and created what they
I would
created.
have to say, right up to the time that the Beatles stopped performing, they never stopped evolving.
Oh no.
I mean, they came out with rock and roll, they came out with this fantastic sound that they had with their Rickenbackers or whatever, and music changed from then on, and they changed music from then on. They went into the hippie stage, they blew that apart, and then they created all the other music that came out of that, with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Revolver, the White Album. They couldn't stop.
Oh, I know they couldn't.
They had so much to give the world in music.
I mean, we all
and
know that. We all
songwriting.
know that since the Beatles, you had the Led Zeppelin and people like this that went to America and created Storm and the Stones and Rod Stewart and people like this. But you've got to give it to the Beatles, the ones that put them there. It hadn't been for them starting out and bringing the groups as a singing group into fashion that played instruments. Even the Oasis wouldn't be around now.
No,
You've got to give them the credit.
Right.
They put that on the scene. We brought the rock and roll, you know, with the solo singers, with their backing bands, and then the backing bands years later became star bands.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles, the Fortunes, the Hollies, all the different groups that have been in the past and up front now, you know. And it's all down to the Beatles, really. They started the fashion, definitely.
Yes, it did. And I don't think without the Beatles we'd have even heard of the Bee Gees. They were another, I would have to say, the nearest thing to the Beatles.
They are great singers,
been
though.
the Bee
Let's
Gees.
face it. The
Because
Bee
of their
Gees
songwriting talents.
The Bee Gees are class. I mean, I watched that audience with the Bee Gees on the television,
Right.
and they knocked me out. They were great. You know, and they can talk. They talk. They know how to chat.
They do.
They put it over nicely. You know, they were good.
I don't know if Willie, you ever caught a show in the. It must have been about the late 70s, mid 80s. They did a television program. I've talked to many people and they don't seem to have seen it. It was a television program about the Bee Gees, and it was on tour with the Bee Gees, and the Bee Gees were going through America, and they were going into all the cities on the tour straight after Kiss, because Kiss were on another tour ahead of them, and wherever they were going, they then followed Kiss.
I didn't see that. No.
And it was a program about them and the shows and what it took, and 13, 14, 20 odd articulated lorries along the highways.
I
with all
remember
the
it.
stage stuff.
Isn't that not quite the same, but similar? That Status Quo.
Right.
They went out and they did a pub tour.
All right.
I mean, let's face it, the sort of money.
This was
the
like
Status,
auditories and
this is only recently.
Stuff, you know. All
But
right.
I mean, the sort of money that Status Quo could command, they wouldn't get in pubs, because what sort of prices would they have to pay?
Yeah.
They did it because it's where they started. They started in the pubs, and they wanted to go round and do a tour. of the pubs because it was their first starting place.
Yeah.
And they've enjoyed it, you know. It's great. So I suppose in a way it's similar to what you're saying about the Bee Gees,
Yeah.
where they went back to their roots.
This
That's how it all started off.
This was America. It was a gigantic tour that they had from state to state, across from coast to coast America, and they'd transported a stage that cost over £1 million to create.
Yeah.
And it was after Saturday Night Fever, and what they'd done is they got a stage floor built, with sequential lighting underneath it, and a matrix and computers that had to be created, because when you think, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, there were no computers like they have nowadays, and the system that would have had to have operated these lights and this stage was unbelievable, because the permutations of these squares all across the stage like that, the lights would change.
But that wouldn't have been allowed in the 50s, you know that, don't you, Steve?
What?
That what you're saying now wouldn't have been allowed in the 50s.
No.
If you were doing a concert in maybe the Odeon or the Goldman, you know, because some of these cinemas used to put Sunday concerts on, and you went there with your amplifiers and things, and you went in and got everything set up.
Yeah.
You could not bring a PA in.
Really?
No, you had to use the theatre's PA or the cinema's PA. You didn't like it, pack your stuff and go. In those days, you worked with the system that they had in the theatre or the cinema. Spots, you had 2 spots maybe, some lights, some footlights what they put in, and then you worked on their PA system. And 9 times out of 10, most of the PA systems were good, because you didn't have to play a ridiculous volume.
No.
To play rock and roll, what you've got to remember is when you're working on a stage in a theatre or in a cinema doing a concert, the people have come to see, if it's Cliff or if it's Marty or myself, they've come to see you and listen to you sing. Now if you're blasting the place out, they're not going to hear you sing. They've come to see the singer, not the band trying to over this, you know. Whereas today's concerts, you go and see some of them, and I went to see In Jury. The first half of the show, you must forget it. It was an unknown band, and there wasn't much bottle. And in the second half, In Jury came on, the band came on. For about the first 20 minutes, it was great. But then all of a sudden, the sound guys are putting everything up. So it all got too loud, and there was no need for it to get too loud, because the way it was before they put it up sounded good, and you could hear In Jury singing and everything. But once you put the sounds up on these concerts, you lose it, you know. Yeah. You're going to see your favourite name, not listen to a band trying to overpower him.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah, you're perfectly right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hear your rendition of Splish Splash.
Splish Splash.
1, 2, 3. Splish Splash, I was taking a bath on about a Saturday night. Rubbing